Thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Cylinder Safety Webinar for Propane Fillers. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question-and-answer session. Instructions will be given at that time. The question-and-answer session will not be recorded. Should you require assistance during the call, press star and then 0. As a reminder, your conference is being recorded, and I would now like to turn your conference over to your host, Mr. Norm Winningham. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the live meeting for low-pressure gas cylinder safety for fillers. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to participate in this live meeting session. As the facilitator said, my name is Norm Winningham, and I'm a hazardous materials compliance investigator with PHMSA, also known as the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration of the U.S. Department of Transportation. The live meeting today will last approximately 30 minutes and will cover some details regarding low-pressure cylinder safety. This is an important safety topic for cylinder fillers who will be inspecting cylinders for safety purposes prior to filling those cylinders with product. I would ask that if anyone has a question during the meeting to make a note of that question, and we will attempt to address as many questions and concerns as possible. I'll also put my email address at the end of the presentation so that if we cannot answer everyone's questions on the line, you can send me an email and we'll do our best to follow up immediately. I would like to emphasize that the ultimate goal of this live meeting webinar is safety for those people that are going to be involved with cylinder filling. By understanding the importance of maintaining cylinders that are used by commercial and private entities, it protects the users and the general public from significant harm in the event of a cylinder failure. So what I'd like to do next is talk about the takeaways, what you're going to get out of this webinar. So our objectives this morning is to identify the basic criteria for cylinder rejection and possible condemnation. I'd also like to identify and discuss with you the DOT cylinder markings and briefly discuss their meanings and where you're going to find those on the cylinder. And then we'll also introduce safety concerns related to the low-pressure cylinders that we're going to be discussing today. So prior to getting started, I want to talk about the importance for all of us to understand the significance of low-pressure gas cylinders and the safety. In light of the recent tragic events involving a food service truck incident that had a catastrophic result when a propane cylinder failed, eventually killing several involved and injuring numerous bystanders, the leadership here at PHMSA believes this safety information is critical in preventing another incident. It is extremely important that cylinders are identified as not meeting design and service criteria and that they not be filled with propane or any other products and returned to service. With that stated, I'd like to discuss some general information regarding these types of cylinders. First, we want to understand the cylinders we are speaking about. And this slide here illustrates some of the most common types of propane cylinders that are used in and around various businesses. You will notice by the illustration in the pictures here that some are small and others are moderately large in size. Now, these cylinders are considered low pressure by our agency because they are intended to be operated at pressures less than 900 pounds per square inch. And in most cases, these cylinders would typically never exceed 400 to 500 psi. This is known as the service pressure and is marked on the cylinders. And later in this presentation, I'm going to show you where you can locate this service pressure and information on the cylinders themselves. It is also important to understand that the term low pressure does not mean no harm or hazard. These cylinders possess a very serious amount of compressed energy and hazard depending on the types of products and operating pressures or service pressures that they are operated at. It almost goes without saying that propane or any other flammable product, due to its very nature, can explode and is very flammable. And when things go wrong, it can create a very deadly situation to all those that are around in the area. During this live meeting, I do not want to necessarily get into the technical meaning of what these codes are. However, understand that you will see codes on these cylinders and markings. And we want to talk about what those DOT specification and design approvals mean. So if you see the 4B, 4BA, or 4BW, just understand that those are still cylinders that are welded and can be reused. Again, the majority of these propane cylinders are authorized to be refilled and used multiple times when certain conditions are met. DOT specification cylinders used to transport liquefied petroleum gases in commerce must be requalified or recertified 12 years after their original manufactured date. So when they're manufactured, they have a manufacturing date indicated on the cylinder. And depending on the method used for requalification, these cylinders can go for 5, 7, and even 12 more years thereafter. So we will talk about those options as we go through the requalification process. But I want to state that again. The cylinders are manufactured and they're good for 12 years after the manufactured date. And then depending on the type of requalification process, they're good for 5, 7, or 12 years. And we'll discuss those options after we talk about some damage and condemnation criteria. So when you initially receive a cylinder for refilling, it needs to be looked over very carefully for damage. This damage, as indicated in this picture here, you'll notice that this cylinder is missing the protective ring, also known as the carrying ring, around the top. So this valve is not protected from damage in transportation. The next picture here, you can see that the person has spray painted around a dent that would be a significant issue to be rejected. This cylinder would need to be looked at and possibly repaired. And that would be another damage criteria. This cylinder here, you'll notice that the foot ring around the bottom is rusted, deteriorated, and collapsed. And the cylinder would not be able to stand up or be positioned upright correctly. And also these welds and rust could have damaged the body of the cylinder to the point where it should not be refilled. The next picture is just showing a lot of rust on this cylinder. Many of these cylinders that have been sitting out in the weather or may have been exposed to a corrosive atmosphere or maybe even heat could create a lot of rust on the outside and create an excessive amount of rust and pitting on the outside of the cylinder. This is another cylinder that has a significant dent in the side. Once again, this would be a situation where this cylinder should be rejected and not filled with any type of product before being checked out and repaired, if that's possible. Now, much of this information that I'm talking about, the details are going to be found in the Compressed Gas Association pamphlets. These pamphlets identify the criteria that would consider a cylinder to be rejected or condemned, and it's important guidance to be complied with. The criteria could prevent a cylinder from being refilled and causing a catastrophic failure that I showed earlier with the food truck. So let's take a look at some DOT cylinder markings that should be important when you're looking at these cylinders prior to filling them. As I talked about earlier, some of these cylinders can have a lot of rust on them, but this is you can see here indicated on the slide, 4BA 240, and I'll highlight that for you. This is the DOT specification as a 4BA, and the 240 is that operating or service pressure that I talked about, 240 pounds per square inch. Let me remove that highlight there, and we'll go to the next slide. The next slide is just showing you the serial number of that cylinder, and this would indicate a specific cylinder. And then the next slide is going to show that manufacture date. And like the illustration on the left, this is the information that was pulled off this specific cylinder, and the manufacture date is 11 of 93. So in this case of this cylinder, it was manufactured in November 1993. It would be out of test because it is required to be tested prior to refilling, 12 years from that manufacture date. So this cylinder should have been requalified no later than November of 2005 prior to filling with any type of product. So let's discuss some of the options if we were to find a cylinder in this condition. Again, there are several options for the owners of these cylinders. There's a 5-year requalification mark, and it's identified by the letter E, marked near the requalification date. This is an external visual method of requalification authorizing the cylinder for an additional 5 years after that original manufacturing date. Now, this may only be performed by an authorized requalifier identification number holder or a VIN holder, a visual identification number holder. So this would be an option, and this cylinder would be good for 5 years after 2008, and that's indicated by the letter E on the illustration. These RIN and VIN holders are indicated on our website, so PHMSA's website at the end of the presentation. I'm going to show you a website where you can go in and put your area code, city, state, and it will give you the local RIN and VIN holders in your area. Now, if we're looking at an actual cylinder, we want to see if it's got a 5-year requalification mark, the letter E, and I'll highlight, it can be difficult to find, but I'll highlight where you can see that E on each one of these cylinders, and that's where it's going to be indicated. So if you were to see this, you would know that it's a 5-year requalification. So if you see that, it's only good for 5 years after that date marked on that particular cylinder. The next option is the 7-year requalification, and this is indicated by the letter S. This is a proof pressure method of requalification, and it authorizes a cylinder for an additional 7 years following the initial 12-year period. So if you see that letter S next to a date, just as it's indicated on the illustration here, on the first one, the second one, and then the third one, that letter S is telling you it's good for 7 years after the date indicated. Once again, this may only be performed by authorized requalifier identification number holders. These, once again, can be found on our website. Now, the next option is a 12-year requalification. This is a volumetric expansion, also known as a hydrostatic requalification, and it authorizes that cylinder for an additional 12 years from that date. And you'll notice that this cylinder doesn't have an E or an S, but it is indicated by a RIN and a date. So the RIN number is found between those retest dates. Once again, these are authorized or issued by our agency and can be found on our website if you come across a cylinder that is out of test or out of requalification. So that's how you would know that it has had a volumetric expansion test. Now, I typically get questions at the end about the difference in the 7-year and the 12-year requalification. What it comes down to is this 12-year volumetric expansion test, they take a measurement under test pressure or test conditions, and it's a little more stringent than just the proof pressure method. And that's the difference in the two types of tests and why we allow the 12-year authorization. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the regulatory requirements. Before each filling of a cylinder, it states in the regulation under the general filling requirements of the Hazardous Materials Transportation Law that the person filling the cylinder must visually inspect the outside of a cylinder that has a crack or leak, is bulged, has a defective valve or leaking, or defective pressure relief device, or bears evidence of physical abuse, such as fire or heat damage, or detrimental rusting or corrosion, may not be filled and offered for transportation. A cylinder may be repaired or requalified, but only by an authorized repair or requalifier. So that's the regulatory requirement with regards to damage or anything that would cause that cylinder to have a problem. The next regulatory reference I want to indicate is 173-301A6, and it says no person may fill a cylinder overdue for periodic requalification with a hazardous material and then offer it for transportation. The prohibition against offering a cylinder for transportation that is overdue for its periodic requalification does not apply to a cylinder filled prior to the requalification due date. So what that's saying is if a cylinder is filled prior to its requalification date, it still can be transported. However, once that cylinder is empty, it can no longer be filled until it receives its periodic requalification test. Now, the potential penalties per violation, civilly or a civil penalty could be assessed between $250,000 to $55,000 and up to $110,000 if death, illness, or serious injury occurs due to a violation. A violation of the requirements as it relates to, once again, transportation of a hazardous material, manufacture, fabrication, marking, maintenance, reconditioning, repair, or testing of a hazardous materials packaging. And that's what a cylinder is. It's a hazardous material packaging. There's also criminal penalties that could be $250,000 for an individual and $500,000 for a company, and or 5 years imprisonment for a willful violation of the hazardous materials regulations. And those were some examples that I mentioned earlier. Also, unlawful altering, removal, defacing, destroying, or otherwise tampering with any marking, labeling, placarding, or packaging requirement. These are all considered criminal violations. So where are some resources or contacts for you in your particular area? So if you have a question about a cylinder, you can contact any of the regional offices. You can see on the slide here where those regional offices are located. They're indicated by a star. So there are hazmat safety assistance team members, also known as PHMSA, and regional investigators that you can contact and ask questions. And you can get that information on our website. You'll notice right here in the center of our website, if you go to hazmat.dot.gov, you will go to this home page. You will see that map on there. You can click on your region, and it will take you directly to a page where you can find phone numbers and things of that nature. Now, this is also where you can find the RIN locator that we talked about earlier. So if you just type in your browser portal.phmsa.dot.gov/RIN locator, RINLOCATOR, RIN locator. Click on that, and that's what it will take you to the page. You can enter your area code, city, state, and it will give you the local RIN and VIN holders in your area. We also have a hazardous material info center that you can contact at 1-800-467-4922. There's also an email address where you can send questions. The hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can obtain answers to hazardous materials regulation questions. You can request copies of the Federal Register, special permits, or even training materials. You can also report hazardous material regulation violations, and they do provide a fax-on-demand service at that info center. Once again, this is low-pressure gas cylinder safety for fillers. This is my email address. So if you have questions, we're going to open up the lines here, and you can ask me a question if you'd like. If we don't get to you, or if you don't want to ask it in a public setting, you can send me an email, and I will do my best to get you an answer as soon as possible. So I'd like to go back to the moderator, and I'd like to open up the lines for any questions that you may have regarding this topic.
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star and then 1 on your touch-tone phone.